5.
The Beavs' journey through the NCAA tourney comes to an end. The Oregon State women fall to the South Carolina Gamecocks in a heartbreaking loss in the Elite Eight. Thanks for joining us here this Easter Sunday. I'm Albert James. We have team coverage this evening sponsored by Lander King's Custom Woodworking. Julio Mora Rodriguez spoke with fans in Corvallis about the tough loss. Brett Taylor watched the game in Albany, New York, and has sound from Scott Rueck and his team. But first, we start with KZI 9 sports reporter Nick Ursini, who joins us in studio with highlights from the game. Nick, the Beavs had a good tourney run.
Yeah, and like Holden said, all good things have to come to an end at some point in time, and no one expected the Beavs to be here. Vegas had the Beavers at a 15.5-point underdog going into this one. South Carolina was a perfect 35-0 to start the season, so let's roll the highlights from MVP Arena. First half highlights, Reagan Beers' jump shot is good to open the scoring, and then South Carolina, Camila Cardoso versus Reagan Beers. It was a great matchup all night long. Cardoso scores. Then in transition, it's the Oregon transfer, Tahina Paopao for 3, and the Gamecocks go up by a couple. Inbounds pass, it's the freshman Donovan Hunter to Talia von Oelhoffen. Nothing but net, and then Hunter keeps it herself this time, drives, lays it in for 2, and then here we go again. Why not? One more time for the freshman. Scores 2 more points. Beers was the leading scorer with 16 points. Tamia Gardner had 10. So did Hunter. But in the end, the Beavers season ends in the Elite Eight. The final score, South Carolina 70, Oregon State 58. So KZI 9 sports reporter Brett Taylor joins us live from Albany, New York in our coverage sponsored by Lander King's Custom Woodworking. Brett, not the outcome fans were hoping for, but hopefully this is a good sign for things to come for the Beavs.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Nick. Not only from me, not only from Beaver Nation, not only from head coach Scott Rueck, but also this Oregon State Beaver squad as well. Look, we just saw the highlights. The Beavers were right in this one nearly at the end because of their defense. Frankly, there were several times they could have come back in this one. They were only a shot or 2 away from retaking the lead, but they just couldn't make the shots down the stretch. Even after the game, Coach Rueck said that he loved the looks that his team was getting. They just couldn't make the buckets when they really needed them most. And when you look at the final score of this game, 70-58, it doesn't even really tell the full story of this game, how Oregon State held South Carolina to their 3rd worst scoring performance of the season, how they held the Gamecocks to the worst shooting performance of the season. This was an incredible game and an incredible run from Oregon State this year, and of course in this game. And head coach Scott Rueck couldn't be more proud of what his team was able to accomplish in this March Madness run in this season, and hopes that more people from around the nation will now start actually paying attention to this Oregon State women's squad moving forward into the future.
In our sport, where it seems like controversy is the flavor all the time for some reason, and we all have to have something to whine about, this team just keeps it simple and does everything right. And y'all are probably bored with it. Shame on you, is what I'd say. Everybody needs to get to know this team, everybody needs to watch this team, and everybody needs to be like this team. The world would be better if everyone focused on this instead of a lot of the other things. And so I couldn't be more proud of a group, more happy to be a part of them, and more grateful.
2 words spoken by Coach Rueck after this one, and still to come on KZI 9 News at 6. We'll hear from some of Oregon's players, including Reagan Beers and Talia von Oelhoffen, after this one win final here in Albany, New York, and of course as the Beavers season officially comes to a close. Reporting live in Albany, New York, and our coverage sponsored by Lander King's Custom Woodworking, Brett Taylor, KZI 9 Sports.
All right, Brett, thank you. Continuing our team coverage now, fans in one Corvallis bar kept their eyes glued to screens as Oregon State lost to South Carolina. KZI 9 News reporter Julio Mora Rodriguez spoke with fans who had nothing but love for their team.
Here at Tommy's Bar and Grill in Corvallis, the Beaver fans were out in full force. They got up early this Sunday morning to see their team play, and they wouldn't miss it for anything.
I'm a Beaver believer. I have Beaver fever. I actually live in Portland. I drove down last night to be here with my friends and my family to be here at Tommy's to watch this game.
Kristen Hecker says she's been a Beaver fan for a long time. Throughout the game, she and her friends brought the energy as the Beavers battled South Carolina. Even as the Beavs season came to a close, fans are reflecting on all they accomplished this year.
We've played really well. We've packed Gill Coliseum, so I mean it's exciting to be a part of a community that supports the women's basketball program.
Despite Hecker's disappointment that the game didn't go her way, she's already looking ahead to next season. She's very proud Oregon State made it as far as they did.
From where they started the season to where they ended, it was nothing, and it came something. So we shouldn't be disappointed. They did a great job. South Carolina's been consistent. They've always been a tough team, but couldn't be more proud of my Beavers.
Coming up in the 6 o'clock newscast, we'll hear from fans who share their thoughts on the importance of women's sports. Reporting in Corvallis, Julio Mora Rodriguez, KEZI 9 News.